intensified resistance to globalism. And the once arrogant Council on Foreign Relations looked like they'd seen a ghost. Looked like they'd opened their front door and seen a monster at it. You know, Frankenstein. They're scared. And that makes the ruling class very, very dangerous right now. People know they've been lied to over and over again. People know that special interests are controlling the major governments of the planet. Individuals have lost confidence in the system, and for a good reason. And how is the establishment responding worldwide? With police state, with surveillance, with secret police, with provocateurs, with intimidation. CNN and others have reported that tourism is down in the last 5 years to the United States by upwards of 34%. That $9 billion a year conservatively is being lost because foreigners, whether it's from Africa or Asia or Latin America or Europe, don't want to come here. They know a Orwellian police state when they see it. They know when TSA is groping them and sticking their hands down their pants and putting them in the naked body scanners that this isn't freedom. They know when major retail stores across the United States put literal telescreens in at the checkout counters saying, watch other shoppers, report to Homeland Security. They know that that's creepy, absurdist, almost cartoon level corruption. I mean, it's hard to believe even as it happens because it's so wild. It's so bizarre. It's like a Kurt Vonnegut book that he wrote back in the 1950s about an absurdist police state future. It's that crazy. Of course, we know Kurt Vonnegut was a 9/11 truther. Kurt sent me a signed lithograph he did of the open birdcage. And I had a chance to talk to him and his assistant as well, but he thought that he was too old to do any more interviews. And he'd already sworn 6 months before at a final speech at a university that would be his last. And then he died a few months after I was contacted by him. That was too bad. But, of course, Kurt Vonnegut did know 9/11 was an inside job. And Daniel Ellsberg saying investigated. And 6 of the 10 commissioners are saying the Pentagon criminally lied and covered up what really happened. So, that tiny, scared minority that crouches down and licks the hand of tyranny that tells the majority of us that are not even smart, but not brain dead. Not brain dead to the point that we recognize absurd tyranny when we see it. And now that they've gone from the enhanced pat-downs to the super rape pat-downs, where they stick their hands under your blouse or in your pants and actually grab your genitals. This happened to Ron Paul. This happened to Jesse Ventura, where they grab from the outside. Now, the head Indian ambassador from India is saying that she will never come to the United States again. That's a quote. Has vowed to never return to America after being confined to a glass cage and groped. And if you complain, they'll leave you in the glass cage for hours. And when you miss your flight, they laugh at you. Minimum wage, brown shirts on a goonish power trip. And this isn't just confined to the United States. When I flew in to cover Bilderberg in Ottawa in 2006, they screamed at me. They cussed at me. They told me they were going to send me to prison. They told me I wasn't going to be allowed to go and cover the conference until the media, CBC radio locally, found out about it and came down there. And then they turned ashen white and came in and apologized and said, please don't tell them I was mean to you. I have a daughter. I don't want her to lose her job. And they let me go. But when the Polish immigrant, after close to a day of confinement, threw a fit, they just went in and beat him to death. This stuff is going on all over the world. Tyranny is here. And so the insanity of all of this is coming home to roost. And people aren't going along with it anymore. That's why the system is in trouble. They're trying to buffalo us and just overwhelm us with all this crazy corruption to where we just give up and roll over and give in. But see, that can backfire, and it is. When a pimp's breaking a whore, sometimes she can rebel. It's the same thing with a donkey. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Pure water. What could be better than the gift of health for your loved ones? And who better to help you give the gift this holiday season than BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com? If those on your gift list are drinking or bathing in unfiltered city or well water, chances are that water is contaminated with rust, bacteria, chlorine, and fluoride. For just pennies a day, Berkey Water Filters remove dangerous contaminants from both well and city water, is powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water, and is great for camping and emergencies. Right now, GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems and free shipping on orders over $50. Purchase any filter system from BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com to get your choice of Berkey Sport bottles, a KDF shower filter, a set of fluoride filters, or the new sight glass spigot, absolutely free. Visit BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com or call 877-99-BERKEY today. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Give the gift of health at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com today.
They helped to create a new world order.
We are part of a new world order.
A new world order based upon collective action.
Invisible Empire is a damning indictment of the globalists through their own words and documents.
The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
It means all the world under their control.
The United Nations would take over America. The Trilateral Commission would control the world.
Invisible Empire chronicles how men of power and influence have worked in stealth for centuries to establish an oppressive world government.
I believe, first of all, that we now need nothing short of a world constitution for the global financial system.
Global governance with the establishment of the G20.
So it's going to be an inner ruling elite and then everyone else. And I got news for you. You're everyone else.
Invisible Empire. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, or watch it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Making the right decisions is a challenge to investors. Are we going to see economic growth, slide into a recession, or at worst, depression? Hi, Ted Anderson from Midas Resources. We all know when a company acts irresponsibly, divesting ourselves in a move towards safety is prudent. When the market becomes volatile, U.S. Treasuries are a safe haven. But what do you do when the U.S. government overextends itself and spends beyond its means? Many investors are turning toward gold as a common-sense alternative to traditional paper investments. Midas Resources has put together a powerful book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, discussing costs, benefits, risks, featuring full-color illustrations, weights, and measures. The book is free and can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. Paper investments are dwarfed by gold's 6,000-year history. Discover how gold may be right for you and your IRA by calling 800-686-2237. Whether buying or it's time for you to sell, the book is free. Call 800-686-2237.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting PatriotInternet.com. For about $2 per month, PatriotInternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. PatriotInternet.com will bypass filters, blocked sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With PatriotInternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, PatriotInternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from PatriotInternet.com. Visit PatriotInternet.com today.
We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Continuing with the fact that people are awakening. They're seeing how we were incrementally, like the frog in the boiling pot, conditioned to accept absurd levels of oppression and government in our lives and government violating the law and spying on us, while at the same time government makes everything that it does more and more secret. And that's because mega corporations have gone in and bought up control of our governments. They're not free market. They're using government power to consolidate control over society. So here's the PrisonPlanet.com article Clinton, TSA policies to be reviewed after humiliating pat-down of Indian diplomat. Live-in ambassador to the United States vowed never to return to America after being confined to a glass cage and groped. And the TSA, the federal government, they feign amazement. You mean you don't like telescreens in Walmart telling you to spy on your neighbors? That's not land of the free, home of the brave? You mean you don't like the government trying to push forced inoculations? You mean you don't like the military doing urban warfare drills in every major city, training for open martial law, and the Pentagon putting out reports on it? You mean you don't like the private Federal Reserve telling Congress that they're not going to tell our elected representatives where the trillions have gone? You don't like obese people in jackboot uniforms sticking their hands in your pants in many cases? I mean, that's freedom. Anybody knows that putting your hands up and walking into a scanner and having people grab your genitals is freedom. Well, I guess those crazy people over in India, the Indian ambassador, they're just not going to come here. I mean, think about it. Wake up out of your trance. It's insane. And what's happening is a lot of people are starting to wake up out of their trance, and they're angry, and they're sick of it. And they realize that government's gotten too big, it's out of control, the superstate tells us everything it does is for our own good. But meanwhile, the government puts sodium fluoride in the water, which every major scientist we talk to out there and all the government's own internal reports admit causes lowered IQ, massive increases in bone cancer. Hundreds of thousands of people die every year of bad drug interactions, and they know all about that, but they approve it. You got a better chance of, as I have said many times, of dying from a honeybee sting than from terrorism. This is all about the government getting in your face when you're shopping or when you're traveling. And now the TSA is going to be on the streets everywhere, rolling out their groping of you and your family. They've got federal programs for police to take blood without warrants at checkpoints on the highways. They're training you how to be prisoners. They're training law-abiding people that we're bad. And America is turning into one giant FEMA camp. Here's another report on it by Steve Watson. TSA subjects Indian ambassador to U.S. to glass cage enhanced groping. The Indian embassy in Washington is to issue a formal complaint to the U.S. State Department following the treatment of a leading Indian diplomat at the hands of the TSA. Indian ambassador to the United States, Mira Shankar, pictured above with President Obama, was pulled out of a security line at Jackson Evers International Airport in Mississippi. See, normally they'd be flying in diplomatic planes, but she had to fly with the commoners. Taken into what has become known as the TSA glass cage and forced to undergo an enhanced pat-down in full view of the public. And guess what? She says she's never coming here again. That's how people respond. But Americans have, like frogs in the cold water, and they turn the heat up slow, and we're like, oh, this is like a hot tub. Then we kind of pass out. But now we're kind of waking up that the water is actually boiling and going, I might want to jump out of this pot. And the government and the media are like, no, it's a conspiracy theory. Having hands stuck down your pants is freedom. You know, the government trying to forcibly inoculate you is freedom. Having a private central bank not tell you where trillions of your tax dollars went is freedom. Wesley Snipes going to prison for not reportedly paying taxes is good, but Rangel only getting censured, a slap on the wrist, that's freedom. Geithner, the Treasury Secretary, not paying a lot of his taxes, that's freedom. I mean, wake up, people, and recognize just how crazy it is. You know why some of the cowards out there, when you talk to them and you warn them about corruption, you know why they look at you like there's something wrong with you? Because deep down, they're afraid. They know life's crazy, but they have no respect for themselves. And so they just decide to laugh it off or look at you like you're nuts. They look at you like you're nuts because they're upset. They're scared. And they've bought into the lie that everything's okay. And so they've got to continue to rationalize and tell themselves that there's no problems. And so now they've accepted bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger lies. Oh, they can put their hands down your pants and put you through a naked body scanner. Why not put up big billboards with the head of Homeland Security saying, watch your neighbors, report anything suspicious? Why not have local preachers hired to watch their flocks and spy on them for Homeland Security under the clergy response team and to tell their flocks, submit to government, it's of the Lord. I mean, Hitler did it. Why shouldn't our government? Because the yuppies and others have bought into denial, and so they've got to go along.
We're on the march. The empire.